Hello, and welcome back to Jacob's Guest Lounge, the history behind the mouse. Within every memory, there is magic. Last episode, we talked about Disney pets that we wish we could have had, and today, we're now celebrating some of the funniest characters in Disney history, the Sidekicks. These are the characters who might not be the main hero or princesses, but they bring out the comedy, chaos, and sometimes the most memorable moments in the entire movie. So let's dive in. Let's start with one of the most chaotic and hilarious sidekicks ever, the Genie from Aladdin. Genie is unpredictable, full of energy, and constantly breaking the fourth wall. His impressions, jokes, and rapid-fire humor make him one of the most memorable Disney characters ever. Even now, watching him interact with Aladdin and the lamp is just pure comedy gold. He's the perfect example of a sidekick who can sometimes outshine the hero. And who better than the late Robin Williams to have been one of the greatest actors to ever voice that character, and with his famous ad-libbing or going off script, to improvise his own lines that made the flow of the character and what he said even blend well with the movie. Next up is the tiny dragon with a huge personality, Mushu from Mulan. Mushu is supposed to be the guardian spirit, but things don't always go according to plan. He's dramatic, sarcastic, and constantly getting into ridiculous situations. His confidence often outweighs his abilities, which is exactly what makes him so funny. Yet somehow, through it all, he still ends up helping Mulan save the day. And as far as speaking of his size, that's one of the best lines he ever could have said as a good selling point to Mulan, whether she bought it or not, is the whole, "I'm travel size for your convenience." And then, going further into this, we have Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King. This duo is iconic. Perhaps with the most iconic line of them all, Hakuna Matata. You get Timon, who is sarcastic and witty, while Pumbaa is the lovable and innocent one. Yep, they're all hilarious, heartwarming, and completely unforgettable. Plus they show that sidekicks can carry out an entire subplot on their own. And the thing that I am touched by as far as any of their doings, other than when they helped save Simba from dehydration, is the part where Timon, he and Pumbaa go to Pride Rock and help Simba fight off Scar and the hyenas, but before they do that, Timon, even though he's known for being selfish on occasions, if not several times, has the ability to still deliver a very sentimental line. Such as when he says, "Well, if it's that important to you, we'll be there with you until the end." It's perhaps one of the best lines that I know of. Another great sidekick is Olaf from Frozen. Olaf is endlessly optimistic and hilariously naive. His dream of experiencing summer might be one of the funniest running jokes in the movie, and his big heart just makes him impossible not to love. To this day, I still laugh out loud during the summertime song in which Kristoff says, "I'm going to tell him." And then Anna replies back with, "Don't you dare." Who knew that Josh Gad could sing really well by saying, quote, "in summer." Especially in those two scenes. One was where Olaf was by the fireplace helping Anna get warm. And then the other was where he experienced the whole winter elimination. And then he says, "Well, this has hands down been my best summer and quite possibly the last." Throughout each of those, to me, I am really flattered, if not giving him credit for being able to take it so well. And it just goes back to saying that he's the perfect example of a sidekick who provides comic relief but also emotional depth. One of the most entertaining modern Disney sidekicks is Hey Hey from Moana. Hey Hey doesn't talk, doesn't really understand anything of what's happening, and yet somehow he still ends up on an epic ocean adventure. He proves that you don't really need the words to steal a scene. Sometimes pure confusion is comedy enough. And last, but certainly not least, one sidekick that we cannot forget is Maximus, the royal guard horse from Tangled. Maximus is technically supposed to be working for the law, but he's loyal, brave, and has a mind of his own. He's so determined to catch Flynn Rider, aka Eugene, that he's practically a one-horse army. And yet he has made this incredible sense of honor. He doesn't follow orders blindly, he has a code, protects Rapunzel, and he makes sure justice is served, and he does it all with the funniest expressions and gestures that you've ever seen in a horse. So even without dialogue, like hey hey, he steals every scene that he's in. So if any of you were to ask me what my favorite sidekick is out of all of what has been listed, I have to say the Genie is one of the top picks, because who wouldn't want to be paired up with a character who's got superpowers? Powers from the Genie, after all. Plus, it even says something about the Genie's character when, in later Aladdin movies, that he stands by Aladdin and helps him out, even though he's free. So, to me, I'm flattered by that and would love to have friends like the Genie. Now, the other one I have to pick is Maximus. I love that he's got a very strong determination to go for finishing the mission or tasks ahead and doesn't think about anything else other than that and knows what he has to do. But anyhow, there's also my other final choice that I have to pick, and this one will be brought up again in honorable mention, is Gus Gus. Gus Gus to me is just somebody very loyal to Cinderella, helping her out in the same way that Jacques is. I just also get a kick out of how, like, hey, that even if they don't provide a whole lot of effort, they can still be comical, and Gus Gus was a lot like that too. He just did a lot of things that weren't really in his best intention. Like, he thought in his mind it was nothing, but to everybody who's a fan of Cinderella, we all know that he just delivers his best when he's just being himself. Now, this goes to all of you guys that are listening in right now or are brand new. The big question for all of you today is, who is your favorite Disney sidekick? Is it someone hilarious like the Genie, a lovable duo like Timon and Pumbaa, or an unexpected character like Hey Hey? Please let me know. I'd love to hear which sidekicks make you laugh the most by posting your opinion in the comments section. And as I've mentioned earlier, there are honorable mentions. Figaro, the mischievous kitten who steals scenes in Pinocchio. Max, Prince Eric's goofy sheepdog with personality to spare. And I love the scene where Max discovers that Vanessa is in fact not a nice person. In fact, perhaps may actually know that she's not even human. But anyway, he growls at her and then she kicks him in the face. And then right when it gets to the chaos, he finally gets his revenge by biting her in the butt. Good payback. Gotta love an animal who's that determined to get even, especially for an injustice. Bolt is the next one. The heroic but slightly overconfident dog from the Disney movie Bolt, who believes that he is a super dog. It just goes to show that you don't need to have superpowers to be a hero. All you need is just dedication and love. Jacques and Gus Gus. One's got brains, the other with heart. And they both team up to help Cinderella overcome the tough challenges that lie ahead. And that's it for today's episode, celebrating Disney's funniest sidekicks. Please tune in next Tuesday. I will be bringing up what I call Magical Month, because it has to do with birthdays and how every one of us may share a birthday with a Disney character. If any of you are still interested in being a future guest on the show, I will be leaving my Google Doc link so that you can all fill out the information, and it will be the perfect way to get back to me with the answer. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast so you don't miss future Disney discussions. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give a 5-star rating. It really helps the podcast grow. Remember, sometimes the sidekicks are the real stars that make a movie truly unforgettable. Until next time, keep the magic alive, and I'll see you back here in the lounge.